The story of weight gain sounds simple. Eat more, move less, gain fat. But there is a deeper story hiding under the surface. A story the diet world often ignores. A story that begins inside your blood and inside your cells. And at the center of that story stands one powerful hormone, insulin. Most people think fat builds up because of willpower. They think it is all discipline, lifestyle, and self-control. But the body works by rules, chemical signals, clear messages moving from organ to organ. When those messages change, the body starts storing energy differently. And once that switch flips, fat becomes easier to gain and much harder to lose. Insulin is often described as a sugar controller. Food goes in, sugar rises, insulin shows up, end of story. But that is only the surface. Insulin does much more. It tells your body when to store, when to lock energy away, when to block fat burning. When insulin stays high, your body is stuck in storage mode, and that single shift can shape your hunger, your cravings, your weight, even your energy levels. Here is the part most people never hear. High insulin does not just store fat, it also stops fat from being released. Your body may have plenty of stored fuel, but it cannot touch it. So you feel tired, you feel hungry, you feel driven to eat again, not because you are weak, because the signal is wrong, because the engine is trapped in the wrong gear. In this video, we will walk through that signal. We will follow insulin from the first bite to the final result. We will look at how certain foods push insulin higher and keep it there. We will talk about the cycle of insulin resistance, where the body stops listening and the pancreas pushes even harder. We will explore why some people gain weight faster than others, even when their plates look almost the same. And we will talk about how understanding insulin can change the way you think about food, fasting, and fat loss. Stay with me to the end, because the final part connects everything. You will see how small daily choices build into powerful hormonal shifts. You will hear about surprising findings from research. Examples where lowering insulin changed outcomes when strict calorie cutting did not. And you will learn practical ideas that respect science instead of blaming people for struggling. This is not a promise of magic. This is not a trick. This is a guided look inside the biology of fat. When you understand how insulin controls storage, you stop fighting your body, you start working with it. You see why some diets feel impossible. You see why hunger can get louder when insulin is high. You see why the eat less, move more message is often incomplete. There is also a larger truth here. Modern food changed, timing changed, frequency changed. Many of us keep insulin raised from morning until night. Snacks, sugary drinks, refined grains, constant eating, the body never gets a break. Fat storage stays locked on, and slowly year after year, the scale rises while energy falls, not because people are lazy, because the system is overloaded. In the next minutes, we will slow everything down, step by step, clear, simple, honest. You will understand how the hormone that protects you can also trap you when it stays too high for too long. You will see that gaining fat is not always about greed or lack of control. It is often biology reacting to signals. So take a breath, listen closely. The more you understand, the more power you have over your choices, your habits, and your health. By the end, you will look at your meals in a new way. You will know why certain foods push your body towards storage, and you will learn how to support your system so it can switch back to burning when needed. Welcome to our channel. We share science in simple language and turn complex ideas into clear lessons. Stay with us, press the subscribe button, and join us as we go deeper into the real reasons so many of us gain fat and how understanding insulin can change the path ahead. Insulin is a hormone Your body makes it in a small organ called the pancreas. Each time you eat, sugar from food moves into your blood. That sugar is called glucose. Insulin steps in and guides that glucose to the right places. It is like a messenger. It tells your cells, open up, take this energy inside. Without insulin, glucose would stay in the bloodstream and rise too high. With insulin, the flow is controlled and steady after meals. When there is more glucose than your cells can use right away, the body does not waste it. Insulin helps move that extra energy into storage. Some of it becomes glycogen in the liver and muscles. Some of it gets stored as fat to be used later. This is a normal process. It is part of how the body prepares for the hours between meals. But insulin is not only about sugar control, it also decides when energy should be saved instead of burned. When insulin is present, the body shifts towards storing. It slows the release of stored fat and keeps fuel locked away. That quiet signal, repeating day after day, shapes how your body manages weight, hunger, and long-term energy. Insulin does not only move sugar into cells, it also plays a major role in how your body handles fat. When insulin rises after a meal, it sends a clear message to your fat cells. The message is to take in extra energy and hold on to it. That extra energy is packaged and stored as body fat, so it can be used sometime in the future. This is part of the body's survival plan, built over thousands of years to protect you during times when food is not available. At the same time, insulin works like a lock on the door of your fat stores. When it is high, the body slows down the release of fat from storage. The fat is there, sitting in the cells, but it is harder for the body to reach it. Instead of burning stored fat for fuel, the body keeps using the energy from the food you just ate. As long as insulin stays elevated, that locked state continues. This is why frequent eating, constant snacking, or meals that raise insulin a lot can push the body into a steady storage mode. More insulin means more storing, less access to stored fuel means less burning. Over time, that simple hormone signal shapes how easily fat is added and how difficult it can become to lose it. When we eat foods that are high in carbohydrates, they break down into glucose. That glucose moves into the bloodstream and raises blood sugar. The pancreas senses this change and sends out insulin. Insulin works to move the glucose out of the blood and into the cells, where it can be used as fuel. The rise and fall of insulin after meals is a normal process, and it happens several times a day. When meals are large, sweet, or frequent, insulin rises again and again. The body keeps handling sugar, but something else happens at the same time. High insulin keeps pushing extra energy towards storage. First, the body fills short-term stores. After that, more of the extra fuel turns into fat and gets saved for later. With insulin up, the body focuses on storing instead of burning. Over time, staying in this state makes fat storage easier. The signal to save energy becomes louder than the signal to release it. This is why some researchers argue that the main driver is not only how many calories come in, but how strongly those calories push insulin. In this view, the pattern of foods and the hormonal response they trigger can shape weight gain in a powerful way. Insulin resistance starts quietly. At first, cells react normally to insulin. They open up and take in glucose when the signal arrives. Over time, especially when insulin is high, too often the cells begin to change. They do not respond as well. It is like the signal becomes softer to them. The body still needs to move glucose out of the blood, so the pancreas pushes harder and releases even more insulin. Now, there is a new pattern. Higher insulin levels are working to do the same job that lower levels once handled. With more insulin around, the body stores more energy, extra fuel moves into fat cells, and less stored fat is allowed to leave. The body keeps saving even when there is already plenty saved. As this continues, the problem deepens. The cells become even less sensitive. The pancreas works overtime. Insulin rises more often and stays high longer. More storage leads to more weight gain. More weight gain adds stress to the system and pushes resistance even further. Step by step, this cycle builds high insulin, greater storage, growing resistance, and an increasing struggle to keep blood sugar under control, all happening beneath the surface while daily habits continue. For many years, the common message has been simple: eat less, move more. If you take in more calories than you burn, you gain fat. If you burn more than you take in, you lose it. This idea is called the energy balance theory. It sounds logical and neat. Food is energy. Activity uses energy. Balance the equation, and the problem is solved. The insulin model looks at the same problem from another angle. It does not deny that calories matter. Instead, it asks a different question. Why does the body choose to store so much of that energy as fat in the first place? Here, the focus shifts to hormones, especially insulin. When insulin is high, the body is told to store fat. Cells hold on to fuel. Less fat is released. Hunger may increase, tiredness may rise. The body defends its stored energy, even if you cut calories. Both views agree that food brings in energy. The debate sits in the next step. Is weight gain mainly about math, or is it mainly about signals? The insulin perspective says the signal to store plays a leading role. It suggests that when insulin stays high, the body behaves differently, making weight loss harder and weight gain easier, regardless of sheer willpower or effort. When we look at weight gain only through calories, the story feels narrow. This deeper view shows that the signals inside the body matter just as much as the numbers on a label. When insulin rises again and again, the body moves into storage mode. That changes how hunger feels, how fast energy is burned, and how easily fat leaves the cells. Diets that fail often do so because they fight the body instead of working with these signals. Thinking this way shifts the focus. It is not only about eating less food, it is about eating in a way that does not keep pushing insulin up all day. Some foods raise insulin quickly. Sugary drinks, sweets, refined grains, and constant snacking can keep the hormone high for hours. The body keeps storing even when total calories are not extreme. On the other hand, meals that keep insulin steadier can make storage signals quieter. Protein, fiber, and slower digesting foods can help control the rise. Longer breaks between meals can also lower the signal for a while. When insulin comes down, the body can reach stored fuel more easily. This perspective helps explain why two people eating the same calories can have very different results, because the hormonal response is not the same. Insulin sits at the center of the body's storage system. When it rises, the signal is clear: save energy, hold on to fuel, keep fat locked away for later. That is why many people call it a fat storage hormone. It is not good or bad by itself. It is simply doing its job. The trouble begins when it stays high too often, for too long. When insulin remains elevated day after day, the body spends more time storing than releasing. Extra energy slides into fat cells and stays there. The more often this happens, the easier it becomes to gain fat and the harder it becomes to lose it. Hunger can feel stronger. Cravings can show up more often. Energy can dip even when there is plenty of stored fuel on the body. Insulin is not the only factor that shapes weight. Sleep, stress, genetics, and movement all play roles. But insulin is a major player in the system, and ignoring it leaves out a big part of the picture. Knowing how it works gives you an advantage. You start to notice which foods push the signal higher. You begin to see how timing matters. With awareness, you can choose habits that support your body instead of pushing it deeper into storage mode, one meal at a time. The naughty be insulin is not just a blood sugar hormone, it is a major driver of fat storage, shaping how your body holds and releases energy. Understanding this changes the way we think about food, meals, and weight management. If you want to take control and see real results, learning how insulin works is key. To dive even deeper, check out part 1, where we lay the groundwork for everything we discussed today. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and make sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss science-backed insights like this. Stay curious, stay informed, and take charge of your health one step at a time.